The voters want to know who will do what, not who did what. I have been an active resident of Chesterfield Township for 28 years. I have been married to my wife, Kathy, for 31 years. I have 2 adult children, Heather and Justin, and 4 grandchildren. I am a Vietnam War veteran, serving with the 101st Airborne Division from 1967 to 1968, earning a Bronze Star and Purple Heart while serving in a combat unit. I am currently the president of the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce. Many of you know me as a former police officer for 18 years and former chief of police for 8 years. I retired in 1995. My practical experience with budgets, management, and township government makes me the man to get the most out of the taxes you pay. I will continue to support our police and fire departments to ensure that our public safety officers continue to provide the best service possible. I will support our library and develop a website for the township that will link the township to the library, the Chamber of Commerce, and many other county and state websites. I will cooperate with our school districts to help ensure that our children receive a quality education. I will cooperate and work with our senior citizens to ensure they receive all the benefits from the township they are entitled to. I will work with other community leaders to help clean up Lake St. Clair. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Berbula has the leadership ability, the experience, and the vision to move Chesterfield Township forward. As the chief of police, I was honest and fair and provided this community with efficient police protection on a shoestring budget. I am running for supervisor for one reason: to help turn the township around, to make it a better place to live. I am the candidate with the most experience, the candidate that knows how to get things accomplished. While going door to door, I get a sense that the people of this township want elected officials to be responsive to the residents and not to special interest groups. I will be one elected official that will serve the people that elected me. My door will be open to everybody. There is a huge challenge facing the new board and the new supervisor, a challenge I am looking forward to. If we all work together as a team, we will get things accomplished that will make Chesterfield Township a great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Okay, now this is the easy part. So, first question for both of you has to do with tax abatements. Are you for or against or somewhere in between? Dan?
I've always been against tax abatements. I always felt that Chesterfield Township has a lot to offer business people without giving them lengthy tax abatement. We have freeways that are accessible. We have railroads that are accessible. I believe the state law requires tax abatement, but I'm against these lengthy tax abatements of 10 and 12 years. If you want to open a business in Chesterfield, you're welcome, but I think you have to pay your share of the taxes. I'm against the businesses that get these lengthy tax abatements that then move their business out of the township. I would be in favor of penalizing those businesses, make them pay back the township any tax money that they got as an abatement if they move out of the township.
Thank you.
First of all, just let me say on tax abatement, I don't think anybody likes tax abatement, but that's part of the law in which we are faced with in the field in which we have to play on. So I will not sit here and say that I would never vote for a tax abatement. First of all, I think what is important when these issues come up is, one, that if we do grant a tax abatement, that we force the person who is coming before the board to seek that tax abatement, that we force them to also submit what their long-range plans are and what the amount of taxes that they will be paying after the abatement. The reason for that is a lot of people don't understand the exact amount of taxes that a corporation pays, even if they do get an abatement. So my position would be that they have to spell out up front what their taxes would be, and then give us a long-range history as to their future plans. And as I said, I will not make a commitment that I will not vote for a tax abatement, period.
Jim? How do you feel about residents speaking at meetings? Do you agree with the present time limit?
Do you want to alternate, or
Sure, let's do that.
Okay, we'll alternate. I feel that every resident in the community has a right to express his or her opinion at the meeting. First of all, 5 minutes is, in my opinion, ample time to say what you want to say. I don't know that they have held it to a 5 minutes all the time. In some cases they have. I would not be a part of disenfranchising anybody from speaking, but I think that if you treat people courteous, they need to treat the board courteous also. I don't think that it does any good for members of the board to criticize the public, neither do I think it does the public any good for them to get up and do personal attacks against the board. But the time limit, the 5-minute time limit, I am very comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I agree with the time limit. I think that's ample time. But I believe residents have a right to speak, and they have a right to their 5 minutes. We as elected officials should be able to take whatever criticism. If a resident who is frustrated for whatever reason wants to get up and vent, whatever, I think we should be tough enough to sit up there and take it. I believe a citizen in their 5 minutes has the right to say whatever they want to an elected official, as long as it's not using curse words, what have you. But I believe residents, when they get their 5 minutes, it's important for them to get up there and say what they have to say, and I think as elected officials, we should be able to take it.
Thank you. Next question has to do with cable. Do you agree with the present way it's being operated? Should more information be given to the public via television? Dan?
I know there are some problems with cable, and I think there could be more information disseminated over the cable TV, but right now I don't have a problem with our current cable system. I think we have 2 access channels that give out a lot of information. I would like to see everybody share the cable network equally, all the public entities that need the cable, but I'm satisfied with cable.
As far as cable is concerned, I think Channel 6 does a good job of playing the tapes when they're brought to them. I think the cable companies could do a lot better in getting information out to the public. Am I totally happy with one franchisee in the township? The answer is no. I think it should be opened up as quick as this contract where they're tied in is out. I think it should be opened up to where you can get a bid on it as to where and what they're willing to do in order to service the township.
Okay. Next question from the floor. Why have you chosen to run for Chesterfield Township Supervisor, and why do you think you are the best qualified?
Well, I chose to run for Township Supervisor, but I thought I could do a better job. First, just let me say this: if I get elected, one of the first things on the agenda will be to sit down with the county on both roads and sewers to try to get those improved. I would also like to sit down with, or I will sit down with all of the department heads to see what they have to recommend. I think that I can do a better job. Some of the things, if elected, that I will do. First of all, I think we have to relook at our zoning ordinances, because the setbacks They can build a house up to 1 foot of an easement where a person can't even build a patio or anything else. So I think that we have to look at that. We've got to establish better, I will establish better relationships with our neighbors to the north, the south, and the west, because we're all in this together. Traffic out of New Baltimore impacts traffic in Chesterfield, traffic out of New Haven impacts it, and traffic out of Macomb Township impacts it. So I will work to do that. Another thing that I would be putting up for change in an ordinance, and that would be to change the PUD ordinance to where it more or less wipes out the zoning requirements. We tell people when you buy a house, if you're next to an open field, go check the ordinance to see what it's zoned at. But then come to find it out, if you grant a PUD, that wipes that away, so you don't know what's going to be there. So I would say this: if I can't change the ordinance, then I would not point anybody to any of the boards who would be, where they would be in a position to make a recommendation that be a PUD. I'll work with the board and try to make it much, much better. Sorry.
Thanks, Jim. Dan?
I think I forgot the question. No, actually, I decided to run for supervisor because I was extremely dissatisfied with the current board's unresponsiveness to the citizens of Chesterfield Township. I'm dissatisfied with the growth and traffic problems in Chesterfield Township and what was perceived as the in-house bickering among the board members. I am willing to do something about 1 and 2. I'm looking forward to working with the board that's going to cooperate to get things accomplished for this township. My practical experience as a chief of police with budgets and management makes me a qualified candidate. I've been involved in crisis situations. As a police officer, I've had to deal with crisis situations. I've handled them well. I've handled good situations, bad situations. I can work well with people. As a police officer, I work well with the juveniles. I work well with the people. I was involved in this community. I got involved as a chief of police with the people of this community, and I think all of that makes me a qualified candidate for supervisor.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, what do you think about locked offices? Who do you think should be responsible for locking up the township offices nights and weekends? Who should be responsible for opening?
Wow. I think the individual that has the office should be responsible for their own office. I know I would be responsible for my office. I would make sure it's locked when it should be locked and it's open when it should be open. As far as the other board members, I think it should be their responsibility to make sure their offices are locked when they're supposed to be locked and open when they're supposed to be open.
Let me go at this a little different. First of all, I think it is a responsibility of the person that is using the building, if it's a trustee or one of the full-time officers, to lock the building, and that's not always the case. So I think what we have to do, we have to look at a way to make sure that the overall building is locked and secured for the night and on the weekends. So we can dance around it. If elected, that's one of the things that I will do. I will make sure that we have people there to lock the doors. We won't be calling somebody at home at 10 o'clock at night and saying, we ain't got no way to turn the alarm off and what have you. We have to establish a procedure where somebody is there to lock the doors, whether we agree with it or not. Myself, I would prefer it to be a permanent township employees, but if we can't do it no other way, they've got cleaners now coming in there. We could have them to stay over and lock the door and secure it, because most of the people that sits on different boards don't know the combination and how to set the alarm. So that would be one of the responsibilities that would have to be taken care of if elected immediately. Who is responsible for this and how will it be handled? Thank you.
Okay, one more. What are your thoughts on the township owning land? Do you think we should own more?
I think it's my turn.
Yep.
Go for it.
I don't, township has to own land. Whether we agree with it or whether we don't agree with it, the township has to own a certain amount of property. I think we should own more, because if we own more, we could develop recreation areas for children and people to go to, parks and what have you. I don't think the township is in business to be a land baron as such, but there will be times that we have to make acquisitions for fire stations and stuff like that, so that's owning land. That you have to do. You're going to have to do some acquisition of land for some parks. That we're going to have to do. So as long as it is for the use of the community, I think that we have to own land. And I am not opposed to buying land for parks and other facilities that's necessary to run this township in a modern way.
Dan?
I am very much in favor of the township owning land. I was very disappointed in, to put it mildly, outraged when the township sold the lagoons. I always felt, and I felt from the beginning, that that property could have been, through the Brownfield Act, turned into recreation property. It's a beautiful location. It was close to the freeway. It would have made a great recreation property. I think the township needs recreation property. We can't just think about what we need for today. We have to think about our future generations. And once all the land is bought up in Chesterfield Township, and it won't be available for our grandkids down the road, I think it's important that the township buys some land and holds it for recreation facilities, and not just for us for today, but down the road.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the questions. We'll go into your 2-minute summary. And I guess you're first this time, Dan.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, again, my name is Dan Burbula, and I'm excited about the prospect of being the next supervisor of Chesterfield Township. I'm excited because I have what I believe are great ideas to move Chesterfield Township into the 21st century. And I'm excited because I envision a spirit of cooperation with the board which will allow me to implement mine and their ideas to better our community. Two big issues facing us today are growth and traffic problems. I believe we can control the growth and traffic problems with responsible zoning and development ordinances. To accomplish this, we must provide this community with a master plan, a plan that is responsible and with our future generations in mind, and we must stick to the master plan. I will work with developers and builders to preserve our trees, wetlands, and natural resources. I want for my kids and my grandkids what you want for your kids and your grandkids, a community we can all be proud of. I want recreation property and facilities that will be enjoyed by you, your children, your grandchildren, and by our senior citizens. I want bike paths throughout the township that will take our kids off the highways and give them safe passage to these recreation facilities out of harm's way. I can and will make common sense decisions that will better the quality of life in Chesterfield Township. I was a good police officer and a good chief of police. I will be a better supervisor. I will not make a promise I cannot keep, and will keep the promises I make. And I promise you this, that if you vote for Dan Burbula on November 7th, you will not be disappointed. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Jim?
Again, let me thank the Chamber for hosting this meeting. I'm glad to be here and to share my thoughts with you on where I stand on the issues. If elected as supervisor, there are several things that I will do. I will work with and establish better relationships with the township employees to provide better service to the community. Our township employees are the most valuable asset that we have, and when people comes into the township, the employees are the first person they see, so I think that we need to reach out and embrace them a little better. I will establish better relationships with Macomb County Road and Drain Commissions to improve our roads and our sewer capacity. This must be done now before our sewers overflow into the basements or into the lake. I have no personal ties, no ties period to developers, builders or realtors. My only concern are the residents of this township. Jim Ellis believes we have to increase lot sizes to make this a better place to live, not decrease them down to the smaller lots. Jim Ellis, the supervisor, will work closely with the police and fire department to provide better service to our community. This includes the most modern training techniques available. No person should be afraid to open their door or go to sleep at night, afraid of what might happen. We must find better ways to preserve our natural resources on new developments. The only way we can do this is to notify the department or the DEQ when we take office that we will oppose converting wetlands for development, regardless of who the developer is. Another thing, I will not hold special meetings when they can be held at a regular meeting. And if we do hold special meetings, those meetings should be televised like everything else. The closed meetings they would only be in case of purchase of land or discipline of employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, you guys are off the hook, so
We're all done?
you're all done.
Okay, thank you.
You didn't let me finish, Greg.
Okay, the two candidates for clerk, Brenda Boughton and Connie Bowles. We'll start with your opening statements. Brenda, I guess you could go first.
Okay, thank you. My name is Brenda Boughton. I've been the clerk in Chesterfield for the last 4 years, and I'm running again because I have a lot of things that I'd like to finish. I've lived in Chesterfield since 1978. I've been a resident in Macomb County since 1968. My education includes Macomb County Community College. I finished my business degree there. I also have certificates in accounting and in computer science. Recently, I finished an MMLC certificate in election law from Michigan State. And I have a teaching certification from MISD. I have 4 children. 2 are grown, 2 are minor children who are still attending anchor-based schools. My husband is John. He is a carpenter, and we are very active in the community in the Coping Society. I will continue to work toward the protection of our trees and wetlands and encourage quality growth and demand responsible spending of your tax dollars. As an advocate for taxpayers, I have earned the endorsement of the Macomb County Taxpayers Association. I'm also endorsed by the Coping Society. While I have not asked for union endorsements, I have been a working, dues-paying member of several unions, including the UAW, United Aerospace Workers, Hotel and Restaurant Workers Union, and the United Steelworkers in the past in my professional career. My husband and son belong to unions in their jobs. I want the endorsement of those members voting in Chesterfield. Their vote is the supreme endorsement. Before coming to Chesterfield as an elected official, I left Grosse Pointe Yacht Club as an assistant controller after the 1996 election. Previous to that, I had 25 years of business experience in all phases of accounting. That included business accounting, club accounting, and also construction accounting. The changes that I've made in the past 4 years include bringing to the accounting department new software and the most capable staff the township has ever had. Our clerk's department has the most up-to-date voters registration in the township's history, and my staff is professional, capable, and customer-friendly. Also, my deputy, John Sad, is a fine professional who has brought cohesion to all our departments. I have directed a successful census in the 2000 census for this community, and that is something that will bring tax dollars back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Connie?
Good evening. I am Connie Bowles and have been a resident of Chesterfield Township for 44 years. Am married and have 8 children and 11 grandchildren. Have been trustee of the township for the last 12 years. Have been instrumental in establishing the following: the Chesterfield Library, Senior Citizen Center, park improvements, police and fire department improvement, promoter of 911, recycling program, charter township, board rotation system, new traffic lights, township entrance sign. Was also a deputy registrar for 12 years and am election inspector for Chesterfield Township and the Anchor Bay School District. In 1989, I was appointed to the Chesterfield Township Election Commission. I have served on the Planning Commission, the Zoning Board of Appeals, Police Administration Board, and the Parks and Rec Board, which I have been involved with since 1974. In 1996, I was honored with the Chesterfield Parks and Rec Volunteer of the Year Award, and in 1999, I was selected as the Chesterfield Township Parks and Recreation Hall of Famer. Currently serve as Vice President of the Chesterfield Historical Society and am a member of Grace United Methodist Church. I have been a working trustee for 12 years and will continue to do so as your clerk. Thank you.
Okay. We'll get into the questions. Again, we'd like to hold the answers to 2 minutes. So. And we'll just alternate. We'll start with you, Connie, if that's all right. First question, how do you feel about residents speaking at meetings? Do you agree with the present time limit?
Do we start?
Yes.
I agree that the residents should have all the time to speak at the township meeting. I do agree with the time limit. I think they can say what they have to say in 5 minutes. And the township does allow residents to speak during agenda items and also at the end of the meeting under public comment. Yes, I agree with that.
Brenda?
I think citizens should always have the right to question the authority of the elected officials and what the officials are making decisions on. I think they should also have the ability to give their input, because whatever decisions are made certainly affects that citizen. Oftentimes, that citizen has no other way to voice his opinions or to criticize the way things are being done. And a lot of times, the officials don't like the criticism, but sometimes that criticism will help the officials do a better job. I will always stand up for anyone's freedom of speech.
Thank you. Next question. Many of you have stated that if elected, you will do what's right for the people of Chesterfield. Could you elaborate on this? Brenda, you're first.
Yes, some of the things that are right for the citizen is careful spending. Careful spending means looking into the situation, seeing if the situation is necessary, getting the best prices, and that means bidding for work that should be done. That also means not selling property without the citizens agreeing to that. If the citizens think the property should be sold, they'll let us know. Also, not intruding into their neighborhood with development that has such an impact on them that they can no longer enjoy the pursuit of happiness in their home. When we allow development to begin, we should know what the impact is on those neighborhoods. Also, doing the right thing includes listening to the citizen and being an ethical elected official, and also being available to those people.
Thank you. Okay?
And I concur with Brenda on most of what she has said. I feel I will do for the people by being there at the township offices to listen to their concerns and make myself available. Thank you.
Thank you. If elected to this position of township clerk, what new ideas do you plan to bring to the clerk's department? Connie?
What new ideas do I plan to bring to the
Yes.
clerk's department? Well, I can start off by saying the clerk's department is run very efficiently. We have a very good staff there and a fantastic deputy. One of the things I know we definitely need is more space, storage space. Other than that, I would like to work with the state of Michigan to establish a one zip code for Chesterfield Township. Also to try to get a Secretary of State into Chesterfield Township. And one of the things that has been mentioned is voter by mail, which I understand the state is looking into using a community as a pilot. And I would like to work with the state to try the voter by mail for Chesterfield Township. Thank you.
Okay. Brenda?
One thing I would like to do in the clerk's office is to begin a new records imaging system. This is something that would save space for our department, and it would also make things easily accessed through our computers. There are ways that I've been checking into, ways to save all of our documents and have less paper. And this system, anyone in any department would be able to access it for the records. Yes, we need space, and we'll always need certain paper documents. Connie's right on that. Also, one of the changes that I'd like to see is I'd like to see some of our ordinances changed, the ones that make citizens into criminals. Also, I would like ordinances that would make it possible to use property in a way that's useful to the owner and also respectful to the neighbors. One of the other things that I would like to do in the clerk's office is to make sure that the people in the community know that whatever information they need, they can go to the clerk's department, and that department will begin the process for them to get that information. A lot of people in the community need certain information, but they don't know where to begin. You begin in the clerk's department.
Thank you. Why have you chosen to run for Chesterfield Township Clerk, and why do you think you are the best qualified? Brenda.
Well, first of all, I would have to start with my education and my previous business experience, plus the fact that in the past 4 years, I have made a difference. There are a lot of things that I would like to continue. In fact, presently I'm working on an ordinance to preserve our woodlands, and also I would like to begin one that would save our wetlands as well. I would continue to insist on accountability in spending and decisions that affect the community. And I'm still incensed for the sale of your property, and I'm talking of the lagoon property, for a fraction of its worth. I will continue to work to see that this kind of situation is never repeated, and I will continue to be the most available elected official, and this is for the sake of my children, Travis and Erica, and your children as well. Also, I will continue to work with the schools to ensure safety and quality education. Also, I plan to continue to be a voice for the citizen and to continue the fight against runaway haphazard growth. I will vote against decisions that impact your safety and well-being, and I will work to build a quality community. And I will make sure that our department remains courteous and that every citizen gets the kind of treatment that they want and deserve.
Thank you. Ronnie?
The reason I decided to run, and while I feel I'm qualified, is I've been a trustee on the township board for the last 12 years, and I've seen many changes in the clerk's office. The main reason I decided to run was I felt there was lack of leadership in the clerk's office and lack of presence. And I feel that we need to have a clerk that is there. I do care about this community. Like I said, I have been involved with recreation and the community since 1974. So I feel I can do a good job as clerk for Chesterfield Township.
Okay, thank you. What previous job or life experience do you have that you feel will specifically apply to the position of clerk? Connie, you're up, Connie.
I think I just answered that.
I think you did too.
Do you want me to repeat it?
I don't think so.
Being on the board for 12 years has given me enough experience, and I have been involved in elections with the Election Commission, working as an election inspector for Anchor Bay and Chesterfield, also was a deputy registrar. I have been there. I've gone to some of the election classes. I've gone to a QVF class to learn more about the clerk's office and the elections department.
Thanks. Brenda, you can take your choice here.
Okay. I've been your clerk for the past 4 years, and I haven't had any complaints from the people that I serve. I've had a very successful business career. I lived a very successful business career of over 25 years to work for the community. I don't have any financial axe to grind. I have been an advocate for the taxpayer for many years. I'm also a successful mother. I've been able to take care of both jobs at one time, and I will continue to do so. I would appreciate continuing this job because I still have a lot to do.
Thanks. Last one. When raises are to be approved in January, do you think you should have a raise, stay at the same rate as elected, or take a pay cut? You're first, Brenda.
Okay, that's up to the people. We did have an LOCC committee, and that committee could make that decision as far as going out and getting comparisons to see what the pay is. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't care whether I have a raise or not. It really doesn't matter to me. As I've said before, I don't have any financial axe to grind. I've never missed a meal yet. I pay my own expenses as far as gas and other situations. The only time I've taken any kind of expense account is to go out of town, and I do not get the benefit of taking money for the insurance as a union member was, because I am an elected official. I'm elected to do a job. Whatever the pay is, that's up to the people or the LOCC board, whichever. It doesn't matter to me. Pay is not the important issue. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I agree with Brenda on that. I'm not running for office for the pay. I'm running for the clerk's office because I feel I can do a good job. We do have an LOCC, and they do make the recommendation of whether the township board officials do get raises or not. I do know that the township board has not had a raise in the last 4 years. They no longer have expense account for their gas mileage or whatever. So, and that was taken away 3 years ago. But as far as a raise, if the LOCC sees fit to give the township elected officials a raise, that's fine.
Thanks, Connie. Okay, if you want to, we'll take your summaries, closing messages. Connie, I think you're up.
Okay, I'm going to keep mine very short and sweet. I would like to thank the Chamber for hosting tonight's event. When I am your clerk, I will not only offer, but provide stable leadership. Uphold the office of the clerk with the honor and dignity as I have done as a trustee and elected official for Chesterfield Township. I will be there as your clerk and address situations that arise that affect all the citizens of Chesterfield Township. As your clerk, there will be no special interest groups. Please remember to vote for an experienced and trusted leader. Vote Connie Bowles, November 7th, year 2000. Thank you very much.
Brenda?
November 7, 2000 is a very important day. On that day, your vote will decide who will be your township clerk for the next 4 years. I would like to continue to work for you, to be your voice in local government. I'll continue to listen to the taxpayer and protect your freedom of speech. I'll continue to work toward the protection of your trees and wetlands and encourage quality growth while demanding responsible spending. Presently, I think that with my business experience, with my education, can continue to do a good job for you, and I would appreciate your vote. Whether you vote for me or whether you vote for Connie Bowles, please vote. It's a privilege that was fought for. It's a privilege that not everyone thinks is important, but in many countries today, people are not able to go and vote for the people that they want to be their representative. We still have that right. Use it. Vote on November 7th. And I would appreciate your voting for Brenda Boughton. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies. Candidates for treasurer. And they are Elise Miller, Patty Crowder, and Matt Wojcik. Nice to have you here. We'll start with your opening statements, 3 minutes each. Matt, we'll make it gentleman first this time.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Wojcik, and I'm running for treasurer. Let me tell you a little bit about my background. I'm a 25-year resident of the township, a graduate of Anchor Bay, and I'm the only candidate for treasurer that has a 4-year degree. I have a Bachelor of Arts from Oakland University, and I currently serve as the secretary of the Chesterfield Parks and Recreation Board, which I have been a member of since 1992. My experience includes work as an administrative assistant with the Chesterfield Parks and Recreation Department, 3 years work experience within the real estate industry, and recently was employed locally as a purchasing agent. I am currently employed within the accounting department of the Chesterfield Township. I am a member of the Michigan Recreation and Parks Association, the Michigan Society of Planning Officials, the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Union, and Macomb County Land Conservancy. The industries that I've worked and excelled in my current experience working as a clerk within the township have given me the tools necessary to provide the taxpayers of this township a new, youthful, creative voice that the people of this township are craving. Uniquely, I've had the opportunity to grow up in this township. A few have lived here this long, but not many have grown up here. It is from this that one gets a different perspective. There are a lot of detractors within this township, yet I believe that growing up in Chesterfield molded me into the person that I am today. Good schools, open spaces, and proximity to the water, and a good mix of city services in a suburban area have all contributed to my upbringing. All this adds up to a great atmosphere for a family to raise a child, and I do want to help Chesterfield stay this course, as difficult as it may be. As treasurer, I believe that with my background and my degree, I would be a great asset to the township. I feel that I could bring a much-needed breath of fresh air to the department, as well as a good mix of youth, communication skills, and experience in dealing with the public, employees, and the township board. In my current position with the township, and as a resident, it is obvious that there is a need in so many areas within the township. I will do my best to tackle these and many other problems as your treasurer. I will be a treasurer who will be proactive, open, and do more than just sign checks, collect taxes, and pay bills. Once again, my name is Matt Wojcik, and I would be honored if you voted for me for treasurer of our township on November 7th. Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. Next, Elise Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Bear. My name is Elise Miller. I moved to Chesterfield Township in 1973, and I raised my family here. Both of my adult daughters went through the Anchor Bay School District and are very successful today. I'm currently your township treasurer. Prior to being elected to the board in 1996, I did have a background, a very extensive background, as a legal assistant, including municipal law. I also have experience in accounts payable, accounts receivable, payroll, union benefits, W-2 preparation. I'm also very familiar with preparing and filing business taxes, and I have assisted in completing a fiscal year-end audit preparation. I also have over 20 years of significant community involvement, from the Citizens Advisory Committee, Chesterfield Township Recreation Department Treasurer, Chesterfield Township Planning Commission and Zoning Board of Appeals Recording Secretary. And I also volunteered my time with the school districts whenever available and wherever they needed me, whether it was for a crossing guard, a teacher's aide, a foreign exchange student host. As your treasurer now, I am currently responsible for recording all of the funds that are paid into the township. I have to accurately account for all of those funds. I deposit all those funds, and I invest all the surplus funds. I also assist in and file an annual audit report with the State Department of Treasury. And I also ensure that we have our proper tax statements are delivered to our taxpayers on a timely basis. And I also ensure that upon receipt of the tax dollars, that money is distributed out between the county and the school districts that are entitled to it. For the past 4 years on the board, as a Board of Trustee member, I have been involved with the Planning Commission, Fire Administration Board, Parks and Recreation Liaison for 2 terms, the Cotton Road Solution Committee. I serve on all but one of the union negotiating committees. I serve on the Police Facility Committee, the Library Facility Committee, the Phone System Committee, Township Entrance Sign Committee, the Township-sponsored Road Improvement Fund Committee, and I also have created and I manage the Chesterfield Township Parks and Recreation Golf League. This is the 2nd year for that, and we've been very successful. I also have professional affiliations with the Macomb County Treasurers Association, the Michigan Municipal Finance Officers Association, Michigan Township Association, Michigan Recreation and Parks Association, and the Michigan Society of Planning Officials. And I'm also endorsed by the UAW Region 1 and the Metropolitan Detroit AFL-CIO. I'm seeking to be retained as the Charter Township of Chesterfield Treasurer to continue making prudent decisions on investments, to speak out against wasteful spending, improper development, and among other issues, to make sure our tax dollars are providing our community with the best possible services. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Patty?
Good evening, and a special thank you to the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce for giving all of us the opportunity to be here tonight. Without your help, it is sometimes difficult for our township's voters to become fully informed about the issues before them, like who we are and what we stand for. Some of you know me. My name is Patty J. Crowder, and I am the Republican candidate for Treasurer of Chesterfield Township. For the past 10 years, I have worked with Macomb County Treasurer's Office and earning the promotion of supervisor for that department. I have acquired the skills and expertise required for the position that I seek. Now I could present a long list of accomplishments and skills gathered along the way, but instead I think it would be better to stress our township's needs for professional treasury experience now. We are the second fastest growing community in Macomb County, and we simply have to lead by example. We have to lead by way of our board members actually having relevant experience that relates to the position that they seek to hold. We should not, as a community, elect public officials that lack the professional credentials needed for success. Without the level of experience I am talking about, on-the-job training would become the board standard for our community, and we surely can do better. My professional treasury experience, for example, will allow for quick and efficient response for our citizens, because that's what I currently do, what I currently know, and have experienced every single day, working day, for the past 10 years. You know, my campaign publications say a common sense approach makes a difference, and nowhere is that more true than right in our own backyard. I do not agree that public officials or boards should keep public uninformed because they either don't care or they don't know any better. I do not agree that public officials or boards should be self-serving in their efforts to promote themselves over the promotion of what's best for our township. I do not agree that public officials or boards should expand our community without thinking about all the things affected by that expansion, like new roads, wetland preservation, making sure variety in appearance is a standard for our subdivisions, and things of that nature. I do not agree with public officials or boards in treating the citizens of our community as if they are doing them a favor, because our citizens are the ones we serve and the ones we respond to with questions in hand. And their questions are challenging. For example, a question that I have been asked while I was going door to door has been, why would I want to leave a top-level county job to be your treasurer? That's what this election is about. People asking important questions and responding to them with the honesty and experience they expect and deserve. To make a long story short, I have told these... Can I finish just half a minute? I have told these few that I am not the county treasurer. I am a supervisor for the Macomb County Treasurer's Office, and I want to bring the experience of that treasurer's office to the treasurer's office here in Chesterfield. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll start with the questions, and we'll start with Elise. It's a long one. There are now on file with the Chesterfield Township hundreds of performance bonds dating back to 1987 for expired building permits, expired temporary occupancy permits, engineering review bonds that Chesterfield Township collected $47,000. I guess that's a total of these things. In interest in 1999 alone, $47,000 in interest in 1999 alone. How would you propose to return the money to the rightful owners?
Well, as far as the performance bond or building bonds, everyone that has placed one with the township is notified. They are all supposed to contact the building department, have them finalize their building so that these refunds can be returned to them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. If they don't want to, generally what happens is the inspectors will go out, finalize it, close the file because they can't contact anyone. The builder is gone or the homeowner has already finished with the building. So, you know, we do everything we possibly can to get them to comply with this. And unless you just go door to door to do it.
Thanks, Lise. Patty?
I guess I have to agree there with Elise. They have to come in and seek the money that they deserve to get back.
Okay. Matt?
I do agree with Elise as well, but I would also maybe make more of an attempt as a township to do a little more research into the matter, and I would find out who actually these building bonds belong to. We even, you may not lead a horse to water, but I just keep attempting if this money outstanding rightfully deserves to go back to the people that put these bonds in, the builders or whoever it may be.
Okay. It's kind of the best of both worlds when people don't want their money, right? Wonderful. Okay. Do you support funding a new recreation facility, specifically a building that would house recreation activities for our children? Patty?
Yes, I would. I think that our children here, we have a lot of young families here, and they do need to get involved. And I don't think the schools, I know the schools do have programs, but my daughter she played softball, and because of that softball program, that continued on through the summer. And I know that we have school programs through the fall and through the spring, winter, but come summer, what do these children do? School teachers have the summers off. We need programs to continue through the summers with our children too. So, yeah, I would be in favor of more expanded programs. I think I would want to take a better look at actually building a building, because that's more taxes that our residents are going to spend. But I do agree that our Parks and Rec program does need to expand.
Thank you. Matt?
No, I would like to say absolutely. I've been a Parks and Rec board member since 1992. I've been involved with, they last had a millage campaign for a building and expanded programs as well. And I'd just like to add that from a Parks and Rec board member standpoint for the past 8 years, it has been our recent history within this township to almost totally ignore our Parks and Rec department. Today we have an outstanding Parks and Recreation director and a lot of new families moving into our community who are demanding more and more activities for their children and more park space as well. I am totally committed to seeing that Parks and Recreation gets more support from the general fund as well. I will also volunteer to write grants and spearhead any attempt to get more funding for our facilities and our programs. I would like to see the township support a bond issue for new and expanded facilities. I believe that our children are our future. We must do more to support our departments as well and not continue to attack our department heads. As elected officials, we must be their support and guide each department when they need assistance.
Thanks, Lise.
Absolutely, I support a facility for Parks and Recreation. It was one of the reasons for forming the golf league. While it's just a small part of it, it was geared towards raising money for a facility. As far as our Parks and Recreation programs, they've exploded. I mean, absolutely exploded in the last 3 years. Unfortunately, we don't really have the facility for them. And the schools aren't always at liberty to give us the space. They have their own programs that are established that are very active for them. Right now we're using our main meeting room for a gymnastics class, but we use every little space that we can, and absolutely I would support a new facility for them.
Thank you. If you are elected, what are your 3 main objectives? Matt?
3 main objectives as a treasurer.
Well, if you're elected as a treasurer, what are your 3 main objectives?
Well, as of right now, I work in the township office, so I know of our needs and improvements firsthand. First couple things I would do as treasurer and as an elected official, I would sit down with each department head and the staff in the township and find out about the little things that make the job a little easier for them. Sometimes the department heads don't know everything. It's the people that make up the department and see things at the lower levels that need to also be consulted on improvements. The offices definitely need more phone lines. Each department needs their own fax and internet access. The elected officials and the department heads need to be also connected to email. We should also have the right as citizens to contact them by email, and right now we cannot do that. Our citizens should be able to email. As treasurer, I'd like to see residents able to pay their taxes by credit card and eventually online. The easier we make it for our citizens, the better. I would also like to see the township develop a quarterly newsletter for our citizens. It should provide news from each department, keeping residents abreast of changes, community events, fees, tax schedules, and departmental news. I would also initiate evening office hours twice per month where residents or employees could come to me with their problems privately and at their convenience. Goes on. All meetings, planning, zoning, CBA, I would change. They should also be televised just like the regular board meetings. A lot of important steps that affect residents at Chesterfield go on at the planning commission level, and that really needs to be televised more. The more exposure these meetings get, the better. I would also institute a hotline for residents' concerns and a confidential employee suggestion box. I would also do things a little differently. I would actually support our department heads and employees. Currently, most of our elected officials, some, do little to support our employees and department heads, and it's a really terrible environment for employee morale just being working there right now. I can see those changes that are needed.
Okay. Elise?
Actually, I have 4 main issues, but Matt had a little more, so I guess it's okay. One of my major concerns is the quality of our services. I think our quality of the services can be enhanced through public safety programs and extensive recreational programs for all ages, elementary school ages as well as senior citizens. Also, I would like to see the expansion of our sewer system completed for our residents and to ensure that the cost of the sewer expansion is only paid by those that receive the benefits, not the current customers that we have. One of my main objectives is to continue with the financial stability of the township through investing surplus funds that meet the expenditures in approved financial institutions based on their financial conditions. And along with Matt, I'd like to see user-friendly technology of the township through development of a website for downloading planning and zoning acts, township ordinances, township history, up-to-date information on parks and recreation programs, or just to ask a simple question. And I've been in the process in the last week and a half of talking with the Michigan Township Association to reserve our what they call domain site, which would be for Chesterfield Township. So I'm in the process of doing that right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Eddie?
Well, since I'm not privy to work at the township yet, I'm listening to the technology. Sounds like it really needs to be updated there. I work with pretty high-tech stuff at the county, and if we don't have that at the township, there is definitely a need for it. I also think the infrastructure of the township is very important. And my third thing would be to be working with the people. I've been going door to door a lot throughout the summer and this fall, and they want their voices heard. They want changes, and we need to start listening to them.
Thank you. We're going to do one more. What are your thoughts about the township owning land? Do you think we should own more? Matt?
Matt?
Go ahead.
I guess I'm losing track. Somebody answer.
Okay. Yes, I agree that we should own land. If we give all of our land away, it's gone. And you don't know what the future holds. And we are going to need better services as time goes on. Our community is growing. We may need more fire stations and police stations and more parks, and we don't know what else. So yeah, we have to hang on to the land that we do have.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do need land immediately, as of yesterday. The lagoon issue, we should never have got rid of that. It's absolute outrage. It's one of the reasons why I'm running for treasurer, to be on the board right now, to make amends for that. And also, recently as a resident, I've also spearheaded successful resident effort to thwart the secluded woods project near Chesterfield Shores due to wetlands problems. Property like this should be protected from development. We should purchase land as environmentally valuable as this parcel and keep it for future residents to enjoy as a nature preserve. Wouldn't it be great if this township had a place for our youth to go to learn about nature? This would be ideal. If you're a developer, just because you own a piece of property, doesn't give you all rights to develop everything in this township. I've been working for years to get a woodland, wetland ordinance on the books to protect some of this property. One of my first priorities is to get a tough ordinance on the books. We needed it 5 to 7 years ago. It just sickens me when a developer comes in and just starts clear cutting. We need to do whatever we can do to protect these vanishing pockets of natural resources, be it tools from the DEQ permits, Army Corps engineers, wetland permits. I've been involved in all sorts of different creative methods to try to preserve what we have in this township. And if necessary, any development before proceeding should have a township-approved company do a tree survey to see how and if the property can be developed. Too many times the company just hires their friend and tells them what they want them to say and gets the thing built anyhow. But really, also our planning and building department have to be watchdogs in the process to keep some of this valuable natural assets before we lose them all.
Please.
Yes, I definitely would be in favor of the township purchasing more property, wherever it might be, and especially in the northern end of the community, because we really don't have much up there. But more importantly, we have property that we own. We need to develop that property.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move right into your summaries, your closing statements, and we'll start with Patty.
Members of the Chamber and citizens of Chesterfield, I have emphasized my Treasury experience, but I also need to express the importance of improving our community. The newly elected board will face many challenges, such as working with the county and state to improve our roads and sewers. I have also met with personnel of the police and fire departments. Our police have a new home and are doing a great job in obtaining grant money for their department. But our fire department is in need of another firehouse and more services to better our community. I also support the Township Library. I understand as a board member for Chesterfield Township that I cannot make the decision for the library, but I can support the library as a citizen of this community. For instance, our library has been operating under difficult times, so as a board director of the Chesterfield Lions Club, I have spoken to the librarian and offered our help to them. So as you can see, being a board member also means being active in other matters that are important in our community, and that is the type of service and commitment that I will bring to the Chesterfield Township Board. Also, as some of you may know, our Parks and Rec and Millage proposal was defeated in August, and because of this defeat, our new board needs to help out in finding new funding sources for our Parks Department. These are a few of the many challenges here in Chesterfield, but the work can be done with a more cooperative board. I have always believed that there is a solution to every problem, and I also believe that the old-fashioned idea that government belongs to the people and not just the powerful. I have talked to so many of you, and I'm looking forward to talking to more and have with an open door policy and bringing a straightforward problem-solving agenda to the office of treasurer. I think our choice is clear. Our township is rapidly growing, and we can either stand still and see progress other communities are experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt?
In closing, I'd like to present you, the voter, with my top 11 reasons that you should consider me for treasurer of Chesterfield Township. If elected, I will, number one, listen to you, the citizens of Chesterfield, open and honestly. I will work to protect, number two, I will protect open spaces, wetlands, township property, and enforce deed restrictions. I will work to purchase open space and expedite passage of a tree and wetland ordinance. Number three, expand Parks and Recreation Department facilities and programs. Number four, actively pursue state and federal grant monies for different township projects. Number five, support township departments, management, police, fire, and unions. Number 6, research a program to allow tax payments by credit card. Number 7, require committee reports at all regular township board meetings. Number 8, I would develop a quarterly township newsletter, website, and internet access for all departments. Number 9, I would open my office in the evenings and start a resident concern hotline. Number 10, I promise to refuse donations from corporations, builders, developers, and political action committees. And number 11, I would initiate open bidding for a new township legal representation. These are my promises, and once again, I ask for your vote. My name is Matt Wojcik, and I'm your candidate with no party affiliation for treasurer. If you have any questions or more concerns, I can be reached at my home number at 725-0217. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Matt. Elise?
Okay. Well, I want to thank the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce. This was an excellent opportunity for an exchange of opinions here. When you stop and think about all the components there are in operating a business, and Chesterfield Township is a business, the first thing that you should ask yourself is who has the experience. I've proven myself to be a hardworking treasurer. I hold regular office hours, I answer all phone calls, and I answer all of my own correspondence also. It takes a lot of years to learn. I've spent the last 4 years learning this, doing just that. I'm not starting out fresh. I don't really have all of the answers. I'm not your cure-all. I have the educational and the employment experience to continue as your township treasurer. Please vote for me on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Candidates for Township Trustees: Mary Jane Kozer Howitt, Stephen Kroll, Robert Garvin, Jody Jones, Kelly Jo Smolarek, and Marvin Stepnick. Welcome. We'll start with Mary Jane and we'll listen to your opening statements.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I would like to thank the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring the Meet the Candidates Forum. I think this is really a public service. Again, my name is Mary Jane Kozer Howitt, and I'm running for the position of trustee in Chesterfield. I have been endorsed by the UAW, the AFL-CIO, and the Michigan Federation of Teachers and School-Related Personnel. The Central Macomb County Chamber of Commerce has raised me as qualified for the trustee position. My husband, Don Howitt, and I have lived in Chesterfield on Lakewood for the past 16 and a half years. The reason we moved to Chesterfield was because it is close to the lake, it has beautiful trees, and a natural habitat. It's the same reason why others have chosen to live here also. I know that change is imminent, but let us promote the good direction and stop those who want to destroy what we have because they don't care what they leave behind. I graduated from Oakland University in 1975 with a Bachelor of Arts degree. Political science was my major. I am retired from the Federal Civil Service. My retirement and post-retirement positions have all been related to public contact. I know the meaning of public service. After being a civil service employee for more years than I can recall. I'm running for office because I know that I can make a difference for the better. I am a team player and I won't engage in political theatrics which only serves one person, the actor. I'm a charter member of the Chesterfield Township Historical Society, and I've been extremely active, serving as chairperson for many activities and as a member of various committees. I was also received an award from them in 1999 for my service to the Historical Society. I don't know what doing things halfway means. I feel that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Right after Labor Day, I began walking the precincts and talking to the people who live there. I plan to continue until I've been through every precinct. To me, those votes from the primary took on meaning because they reflected the neighborhood and the faces of real people with whom I had the pleasure of meeting and speaking. Generally, the people are happy living here, but there is concerns over the condition of the lake, filling in wetlands, indiscriminate deforestation, sufficient utilities for their needs, including water and sewage. One woman who just moved into a new development asked me, why do developers and builders need to destroy beauty? She was referring to the trees which once graced the landscape. 3 minutes? Sorry. I'll finish later.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event so that the residents of Chesterfield Township can make an informed decision of whom they select in office. My name is Stephen Kroll, and I'm running for the position of Township Trustee. I'm married to a lovely woman, Joyce, who is not here today. She's hosting the junior class of Anchor Bay High School as they build their float for homecoming. I have two wonderful stepchildren, Stephanie Belko, a junior at Anchor Bay High School, and Jeremy Belko, an 8th grader at Anchor Bay Middle School. I graduated in June of this year from the Detroit College of Business, obtaining my bachelor's degree in management. I am enrolled for graduate studies in public administration through Central Michigan University right now. Currently, I am employed as a manager of credit collections at DME Company in Madison Heights, which is a world leader in the plastic industry. I supervise a large staff, am responsible for departmental budget, and have negotiated contracts. My family and I have lived in Chesterfield for 5 years. In this short time of 5 years, I've seen Chesterfield Township expand beyond belief. Recent figures place Chesterfield as the second fastest growing community in Macomb County and third overall in the tri-state area. However, with expansion comes both necessary and unnecessary destruction of our natural resources. I have seen my taxes go up on a yearly basis with no increases in services. I have observed board meetings that contained constant bickering and where members thought their opinion were the only ones that mattered. We need to expand the quality of life in Chesterfield Township that benefits everyone as a whole. This is why I chose to run. The bottom line is that I believe Chesterfield Township should be a community that others model themselves after. To accomplish this, we need to elect professionals that place the good of the community above their own agendas. We need people who want to serve the community as a whole and recognize that everyone in the township has a voice. I want to be that voice for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Robert?
Good evening. My name is Robert Garvin, and I'm running for the position of trustee of Chesterfield Township. I would like to thank the Chamber and the Anchor Bay Schools for letting us use their facility. I was born on July 16, 1962 in Royal Oak, Michigan, and I reside in Michigan for the 38 years that I've been on God's earth. I'm married to Gina for the last 10 years, and I have two beautiful children, 5 and 8. I'm currently working on my master's degree in labor relations. As of September 8th, year 2000, I have now passed over 20 years of service with the Air Force and the Michigan Air National Guard. I currently have been elected as the president with the Office and Professional Employees International Union Local 494, which represent the professional and clerical staff of the United Auto Workers across the country. I also am currently the executive board member on the Metro Detroit AFL-CIO. My civic and political experience, the first thing as I am a taxpayer. I am the second vice president of the Northeast Macomb Democratic Party. I belong to the United States Air Force Association. I am a member of Trinity Lutheran Church in Mount Clemens and the former speaker of the Citizens for the Future of Chesterfield, which began my political career in Chesterfield. Community involvement, I am a former Stephen minister with Trinity Lutheran Church, Sunday school teacher. Gina and I both teach the 3rd and 4th grade Sunday school at Trinity. I belong to the Lance Cruz Parent Advisory Committee, Parent-Teacher Committee for Green Elementary School. I have been a drug and alcohol abuse counselor in the United States Air Force and the Michigan Air National Guard, and currently have been here for 6 years and looking for your support for trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody?
Good evening. My name is Jody Jones, and I would like to start out by thanking the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce for holding this forum. I think that it's a wonderful way for the public to be able to see the people that are willing to support them and represent them. I've lived in Chesterfield Township for 11 years. I've been married to my husband Mark for 15, and we have 4 beautiful children that all attend 3 different levels of Lance Cruz School. Although some of us are running Republican and some of us are running Democrat, I do believe that it's not important what party on a local level that you are running. I believe that you should be looking for the people that have been involved and that you feel can do the best job for you. I studied communications at Eastern Michigan University and have been going 3 years part-time to Macomb Community College towards my nursing degree. I've been on the Chesterfield Township Planning Commission for 8 years and have recently been appointed as co-liaison to the Zoning Board of Appeals. I've also been a Parks and Rec Board member since 1993, and although I've been involved with many of the activities with Parks and Rec, my favorite thing to do is I'm chairman of and hostess of the Daddy-Daughter Date Night, and I know a lot of the dads out there really enjoy that. Also, I'm founder and chairman of Chesterfield Township Appreciation Awards. You've heard some of the candidates tonight talk about the awards that they have received through this. It was given to me as a challenge from one of our previous supervisors, and it has gone forward, and I'm really pleased about that. I was named Chesterfield Township Volunteer of the Year in 1998 and given the Grandma Bertha Pollard Award in 1999 for dedication and commitment to the youth of Chesterfield. I've recently been endorsed by the Michigan Federation of Teachers and Supporting Staff, and also I'm endorsed by the UAW and the AFL-CIO. I volunteer for Cagers basketball program, which is offered through Lance Cruz Middle School North and this year East. I also volunteer for Muscular Dystrophy Association and Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and I'm looking forward to representing the citizens of Chesterfield, and I think this is all a community that we can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Jo.
Hello, my name is Kelly Jo Smolaric, and originally I am from the great state of Texas. I've been a resident of Michigan now for the past 13 years, and for the last 6.5 years, my husband and I have resided in this wonderful township of ours, raising our children. Prior to raising a family, I served as an assistant training director for 40 auditors with Tisch Ross, currently known as Deloitte Tisch. The management and leadership experience I gained in this position has given me the necessary experience needed as a trustee. Since 1998, I have been the Republican delegate for the 4th precinct of our township. I've recently been appointed as a commissioner for the Zoning Board of Appeals in our township. I am an advocate for the Mount Clemens Care House for abused children and an advocate for the Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Currently, I am the vice president for the Chesterfield Lakes Association and the chairperson for the Chesterfield Elementary Market Day program. I am a former member of the Selfridge-based Community Council. Although Chesterfield is a wonderful place to live and raise a family, we have serious problems facing our community, including rapid growth without proper zoning and infrastructure, inadequate judicial facilities, and an equitable distribution of township resources. I will help to solve these problems with a conservative voice and a progressive approach. Over the last 6 months, I have had the opportunity to meet many of the residents of our township and to discuss the various problems and possible solutions of our community. I am honored to receive the endorsements of the Citizens for Traditional Values, American Polish Coalition of Republicans, and the Macomb County Taxpayers Association. Also, I am the only candidate endorsed by the Macomb County Republican Committee, and the only candidate to be rated as a well-qualified by the Central Macomb County Chamber of Commerce. Again, my name is Kelly Jo Smolarek, and I am campaigning for trustee of Chesterfield Township. I thank the Anchor Bay Chamber of Commerce for the opportunity to present the candidates to the residents of Chesterfield, and I thank my friends and my family for the support they have given me during my crusade for trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Marvin?
Yes, thank you. My name is Marvin Sednak. I've been a resident of Chesterfield Township since 1984. My education in Macomb Community College, Oakland University. Currently employed as accountant/systems analyst with the Ferndale School District. I'm a member of St. Mary's Church and also the Knights of Columbus. Also, I'm active with Boy Scouts of America, Troop 211. Yes, I do enjoy sleeping on the ground on the campouts. The main issues that I'm concerned with are the roads, the property tax we're currently paying, the recreation that our kids and our adults are needing to receive from the township, and also the trees and the wetlands in this community. I currently serve as a township trustee. I've been there since September of '99. I also served on the Township Planning Commission and also secretary on the commission. Also served as liaison to the ZBA, Library Advisory Committee, Recycling Committee, and Building Authority. My wife, Victoria, 14 years, and I have a son, Michael Paul, who is in 7th grade at Lighthouse, and Anne Marie, who's 4th grade at Sugar Bush. I believe I'm an effective listener and listen to all points of the issue. I will give the best reasons for any decision that I shall make. Thank you.
Thank you. Move right into the questions. Start with Mr. Kroll. What are your thoughts on the township owning land? Do you think we should own more?
Absolutely, the township should own land. And it's been said before, as we continue to grow, we as the township are going to need land for fire stations on the north end. There might be a mini police station in the north end. We need to have areas of parks, small, even if they're just small individual parks for our children to play in. A couple swing slides, you know, just something to get out there and have fun. As we grow, we have to concern ourselves with the fact that we can't let all the land be eaten up by the developers. We need to have areas that will benefit the township and the residents together.
Robert?
As looking at the master plan and now currently going over and trying to redo with the citizens, we've had our first meeting. It is a need for the township to have more property. However, when we have more property that falls under all of us as taxpayers, somebody has to keep it up. Somebody has to pay the upkeep and the taxes for it. We need to make sure that demographically we look at the areas of the needs from north to south, east and west of the township, make sure that the property is in need and that the property is going to be used for the appropriate thing that it's purchased for, whether it be for the citizens, whether it be for the children, whether it be for the community at large. We must make sure that when we put the pieces of this puzzle together, that those pieces are there. Once we acquire this land, it is the utmost importance to whoever gets elected into this township that we hold on to it and that we don't frivolously allow it to slip through our hands and go to the developers. Thank you.
Jody?
Yes, I support funding and purchasing of land. Land is something that they're not making any more of, and once it's gone, it's gone. I think that we need to buy up some of the land, although in the responsible manner. I think that the developers are coming in and buying up the land as fast as the land is being sold. And what we need to do is make sure that we have enough land available for our parks and recreation, for our municipal buildings. And we need to do it in a very reasonable and prudent manner. I don't think that we need to overbuy, but I want to make sure that there is enough available when we do need it. Thank you.
As we've seen over the past 10 years, the growth that our township has incurred, it has proven that land is our most valuable economy. We truly need to preserve it. We do need to purchase more of it. Therefore, we have more of a say in what will transpire in our township in the near future. Therefore, I do agree. We do need to purchase more land.
Thank you. Carver?
Yes, I agree on the purchasing the property and more land for the community. So if you look at it, basically, if the township does own the property, it takes it out of the realm of being developed. Developers can't come up with a strip mall up, can't put a apartment building up. So basically, the more property the township owns, the less development is going to keep on marching along in our community. And even though we may buy this property or have this property in our vast resources, we could just let the grass grow. We may want to put a park there maybe 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But at least during when that generation needs to come forward, we have this land available for their use. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jane?
Yes, I agree with everybody else that we should purchase property. I think along with laying out the master plan, perhaps look at areas where either police and or fire departments might be needed as the township expands in population and building. For playgrounds for children, equitably divided, both north, west, and wherever, whatever results from that master plan. I think that's essential, that we come up with a good plan instead of just kind of drifting along. I think you have to plan for parks and what's going to happen when houses start going up in the north. Certainly, fire department on 24 Mile Road isn't going to handle from the boundary line to the east to the boundary line to the west. That's quite some area. I think that planning for parks and other facilities for the township should be done along with planning for the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next question. There's a lot of new construction in Chesterfield. What will you do as a trustee to assist residents with problem builders and developers? Start with you, Robert.
Well, that's a unique question. When I first moved here almost 6 years ago, we had a house built over on Ruby Court. And quite a few things occurred in that house that opened my eyes to a lot of the availability of things to get done without it truly being done correctly. I will, if elected as trustee, make sure, and not to say that the building department does not, they were very helpful in me getting through the process of going through all the red tape and the bureaucracy that the state has set up for us to make sure that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted, I guess, so they say, so that we can file suit. I will make sure that those avenues are directed and given to the citizens, that they clearly understand the process in which it takes to get things done. Make sure that the building department has the inspectors not only go out and inspect what's going on, but as they're driving through the township, if they find violations that the builders are occurring, that they take care of them there. Increase the enforcement area of the township, because one person just does not get it. There's a lot of things that go on. We're building and growing so fast that one person cannot take care of all the enforcements that are going on. So if all of us share in the responsibility to make sure that the growth, the ordinances are followed, the building codes are adhered to, we won't have all the disgruntled citizens afterwards when the basements start leaking. In my case, there was no insulation in the bathroom in the upstairs, and it had started to leak all the way through, and they had to reinforce the floors and all that, and we had to take this certain builder all the way to the state. We finally won, but it's a long, long process. So with that, I would make sure that everyone knows the process and what it takes and assist them in getting there. But if we take care of it in the front end, we won't have to worry about it on the back end.
Thank you. Jody?
Thank you. This is one of my main reasons why I got involved in the township. I, along with Robert, had problems with our home. A lot of our problems came before we even approached the township level. I think what people need to realize is that the developers are out to sell their lots. A lot of them will tell you exactly what you want to hear. What you need to do is to look into your deed restrictions. You need to go and investigate what your property is zoned and what the property around you is zoned. I personally had many problems with the home that we are living in. We did not have a good response with the people we were dealing with. The building department, I think, is so overwhelmed right now because of all the development that's going on that I really think that it's up to all of us on the township board to watch out for the citizens and the homes that they are buying into, and to answer all of their questions the best that we can, and not to give them falsehoods, but if we don't know the answer, to tell them that we will investigate it and get back with them, or have somebody get back with them. We have been sued by our builder because of different things that we have said and presented. So I've been through the whole gamut also, and I guess I would just say buyer beware, and hopefully if things happen once you are in, we at the township level can at least assist you. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly?
Thank you. I too agree with Robert and Jody. But beginning with developers prior to the builder, I would like to see that it can be enforced and enlarge our department. Laura Emerson is not capable of overseeing a population nearing 45,000 people. It is too great of a job for her to do this. She definitely needs the help and the support. There have been many times when we recently built our home, our developer had promised us a park. And it may not sound great, but we do have a park. He was going to turn the association over to the homeowners without providing this. We as residents in that subdivision went to our developer and made sure that this was an issue that was covered and finished. It was written in all of our deeds. We all owned a percentage of the park. I felt that the township should have actually represented us instead of us having to represent ourselves. We did not have anyone at the board helping us and showing us the procedure that was needed to see to it that we were indeed given the part that we were entitled to. Regarding the builders, education is a very, very strong and needed aspect. I myself had issues with builders, which I'm sure everyone has. We have a wonderful home, a very well-built home, but there were things that still needed to be completed. And as many people know, getting someone come back to complete jobs is not always the most simple procedure to follow. Unfortunately, we did have to go to other steps. I would bring to the board and bring to the residents the knowledge of what needs to be done, that there are people in the government that can help you, that it's not necessary that you have to hire an attorney and go and get these accomplished on your own. We have representatives that can guide you. And thank you.
Thank you. I guess it's kind of sad, and the home is probably one of the most largest investments that we all make, and especially going into a new home and then having problems with it. That's really gut-wrenching and really causes some problems. But the suggestion that I would spring is I believe we have an excellent building department. And if you have problems, talk with the inspectors, talk with the people that are in the township at the current time. If you have a zoning issue come up, go to the ZBA meeting. If you have a planning issue where they're going to put a new development in your community, go to those meetings, voice your opinion. That's what you need to do. To sit back and not do anything, that's not going to solve anything. There are people out there, if you keep on the issue and keep bringing it forward, hopefully the bad builders, bad developers that have came into our community during periods of time of history will be gone, and we don't have to deal with them anymore. Thank you.
Okay. It seems to me that a while back there was something about when a homeowner sells a home, they have to disclose to the buyer the defects in the house. I don't know whatever happened to that suggestion. I think builders should be required to give full disclosure. If they're building houses on wetlands that have been filled in, they need to tell those people what they're doing and what kind of house they're buying, because a lot of those houses develop problems much later depending on which way the water goes, up or down. I think they should send them to the township, and the township should have not a whole book, but a whole list of things that people should look into. There's probably millions and millions of books written on before you build, what to do this. You're so excited about getting your brand new house, and it's so beautiful, and it's in such a lovely neighborhood that most young couples and older people too forget about it. I've talked to people that moved into a condo that developed a whole bunch of problems, and nobody's there to do anything. They set up a homeowners association or a condominium association, but nobody wants to do anything. So I do not think it would be very difficult for the township to tell them, look into zoning, what's going to be built around you. If you're buying a house in this day and age and spending a great deal of money, you certainly don't want to buy or purchase a lot and build a house right next to a factory. I mean, that's...
Thank you. Stephen?
Thank you. I, along with probably everyone here, also had problems with my builder. But I think informing them after the fact is a good, it's a suggestion, but why not take it a step further? If elected to the board as a trustee, I would bring forth maybe a resolution or something saying, let's put the onus on the builder. Let's get a scoring system. That way, people who want to buy and move into Chesterfield Township can come down to the township offices, can look at a rating system based on the builders who have been in Chesterfield, based on complaints, whether the residents, through a residential questionnaire, do it by the number of complaints, how many times the inspectors had to go back and forth to get something repaired. Just do something informative before they buy into the township and put the onus on the builders. Thank you.
Okay, we have a couple of questions here. I'm going to make them into one question, and this will be the end of it. We'll start with Jody. Do you really expect to only put in 2 nights a month? And how do you feel about having to attend ZBA, planning, recreation, senior, historical, police, and/or fire board meetings? Jody?
Okay. Anybody that's running for this office that thinks they are going to get away with 2 nights a month better start hitting the door right now. I currently now spend days, a week up at the township, just from being on the Planning Commission and Parks and Recreation. There's so many positive things going on right now with the township, and the growth alone. You have to stay on top of things, otherwise you're going to be left behind. And I don't think any of us are running for this office to just fit into a cupcake job, because this certainly is not it. You have to be able to have the time and the ability to put into this job, and I feel that I, at this time in my life, have both. Thank you.
I feel that this is a very exciting time for our township. Being on the Zoning Board of Appeals at this time, I'm aware of the time that is involved in researching, studying every case that comes before us. This is a board that meets twice a month, just as the Board of Trustees would. But in order to prepare for that meeting, there is time that has to be spent going out to speak to the people. And again, researching, constantly researching the books to make sure that everything has been appointed. I am very enthusiastic, and I look very forward to the challenge of what this position has to offer. I have thoroughly enjoyed researching the ordinances. I have participated in the meetings that has surrounded the planning of other projects that are coming in that I necessarily did not have to attend. I did it as a private citizen because I was very concerned about what was taking place, things that were more or less being whispered by developers that I was able to get wind of and able to question them as to why or where, or is it possible to do it in a different way that won't affect us in a negative, to keep things positive. And so as far as the hours and the meetings, I'm very aware of what this position entails, and I'm very excited and looking forward to fulfilling it. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess the question is, it's not really the quantity time, but the quality time. Currently, there's no room. I do have a full-time job, so I do have a position that I'm 8 to 4:30 on. But sitting on the township board since September of '99, I have got on the phone and spoke with department heads when issues came up, with the building department, with the police chief. If it took me to go down to the phone at the end of the hall, instead of using my office phone, hey, I did it. And also going in at different times in the township, seeing the staff working, and not getting involved with the staff, because most of the full-time officials have a job, the employees have a job, not interfering, just observing, seeing what's going on, keeping them informed on the issues. As a serving on the planning or ZBA or Parks and Rec, currently the board seems to keep members on there for a long period of time, a year to 2 years. I feel that if a new board got in there, the members of the liaison positions in the board should rotate more often, maybe even 8 months or 6 months, to get a feel of what's going on the ZBA level, what's going on the Planning Commission level, what's happening in Parks and Rec. To be associated with those boards, know those people that are making these volunteer committees, know where they're coming from on the issues, and that makes the board run more smoothly. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jane?
I think rotation is an excellent idea for anyone, like most of us, except for you, Marv. This is going to be a first time. You get at least an idea of how each board operates, what the functions are, where to look things up. I think that's a great idea. I've been very active with the Historical Society, and I do most of my work at home, but sometimes I work a lot. I do not have another job. I have worked while I was doing work for the Historical Society. But I think quality time and gaining knowledge of where to look for information helps you a great deal, and to be able to piece things together, to be well organized is definitely an asset.
Steve?
Thank you. I think the bottom line here regarding this question is, are you committed enough? And in my case, yes, I am committed. I'm committed to serving the community as a whole, whatever time it takes. Fortunately, I have some very good employers who know that I'm committed to this, who we have discussed this before, and they are willing to work with me. If I need to attend something in the mornings, fine, I will attend it. The commitment along with my job, with the community, is going to be a perfect balance, and I will be there for the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Robert.
Well, I'd like to quote a very famous person in my life, and that's my wife. As I walk out the door, usually nightly, she asks me, now what meeting are you going to attend? The last 6 years that I've been living in Chesterfield, I have gone through and I have attended almost every one of the different committees, the ZBA, the Planning, Recreation, the Police Administration Board, and have gotten a feel of each board and what their responsibilities are to the citizens of this township. Whether it deal with the lagoon sales, whether it deal with the termination of certain employees, padlocking buildings, arguing back and forth amongst township officials, I've been very active and have received a lot of education over the last 6 years. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I feel at this time, no matter what I put at the end of my name, whether it's trustee or just taxpayer, that I will be a concerned citizen. I have chosen to raise my family in this township. I have just completed building my second house, like I didn't learn the first time, but I had a better experience the second time, and we are now planted in this township, and I feel that I bring the ability to the taxpayers a certain integrity, a certain future that this township needs. Thank you.
Okay. We'll get into your closing statements. We'll start at this end of the table this time. Marvin?
Thank you. Once again, my name is Marvin Sednak. I'm running on the Republican ticket for Township Trustee. I enjoy being a trustee. I put the time and effort into it. I believe that I am an individual that can work with all the candidates that we have seen this evening in some level of capacity. I believe I will be a very asset to the community. And once again, my name is Marvin Sednak. I'm for Township Trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe?
Over the years, my husband and I have understood the importance to instill community involvement in our children. In order to have a healthy community, it requires everyone getting involved. Chesterfield has recently offered a workshop program regarding the master plan. There's a series of public meetings. The first several meetings will be more informational than interactive. I encourage the public to attend. I have enjoyed the many capacities that I have served in our community, from the Zoning Board of Appeals, volunteering in our schools as a Science Olympiad coach and judge, and to refereeing soccer for the AYSO. The trust and honor that the residents of Chesterfield Township offers to its elected officials isn't to be received lightly. It would be an honor to be your representative. Again, my name is Kelly Jo Smolarek, and I am campaigning for trustee of the township. Thank you.
Thank you. Jody?
Your vote shouldn't be based on the person who has the most signs or the most literature out or who spent the most money. It should be for who you believe can do the best job for you. We need people who are more about action than talk. We can either complain about things and do nothing, or we can try and make things better. People don't always believe what you say, but they do believe what you do, and I am a doer. A lot of changes are going on in the township. We are going to need good, reliable, and experienced leaders. To have a successful community, we need people who can work well together and communicate. We need to work as a team and not as individuals out for our own goals. I feel that the residents have lost faith in their township government and have seen a lot of easy way out by blaming instead of taking responsibility. We need to have open communication and most of all listen and act on behalf of the citizens. The public interest needs to be protected. My strengths are in my common sense and listening skills. I'm not going to say that I'm going to vote for what's right for you, because what's right for you might not be what's right for the next person. But I am willing to say that I will listen and investigate all sides and try to make a well-informed decision. I believe that now, more than anything, Chesterfield needs a government that works to provide basic services like safe streets, that works efficiently, making the best use of the taxpayers' dollars, that works industriously to preserve and promote Chesterfield as a wonderful place to work, shop, and live, and that works fairly and honestly for the citizens of Chesterfield who ultimately pay the bills. The government exists to serve, not to control, and I would consider it an honor to serve you. Thank you. I'm Jody Jones, running for Republican trustee.
Thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank the Chamber for holding this and the Anchor Bay School District for using their facilities. Over 20 years now, I took an oath of office, and that was to serve, to support, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I sit here in front of you today, and I pledge to you that I will take that oath, if I'm elected trustee, to support and defend those rights that we should have in Chesterfield Township. Those rights that I have as a future profile for Chesterfield is to redo the master plan with the citizen involvement and adhere to the master plan with strict restriction to change. I oppose any sale or purchase of land without first bringing these issues to the taxpayers. I strongly believe in a complete traffic study of this township and to petition the Macomb County Commission Road Commission to review that of Chesterfield Township. We hear a lot of things that go on, and we always are pointing fingers on who's to blame. We all need to come together and petition those that have that responsibility. Always maintain the public comment portion of the board and during each agenda item. To petition and bring in, hopefully, the 42nd District Court into the township area. Increase development for a strong recreation department. As we grow, the recreation department also needs that support. Not only with the recreation for the young, we also must look at our senior citizens, and I will defend the rights of the senior citizen and request increased funding for those programs. Maintain an environment free from political threats for all township employees. When they are there doing their work that benefits us, they do not need to be brought into the political flux of all of us running for office. Open communication between the school districts and the township. This has come to, from what I have found out, the communication needs to be more open so that we can both support each other, which in run will support the young people in this community. And above all, I will support and defend the rights of the taxpayers. Vote for Robert I. Garvin, November 7, 2000, for Chesterfield trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Stephen?
Thank you. It is my resolve to work for the township as a whole if elected. On the agenda, first and foremost, would be to make sure that we have applied for and received our fair share of grant dollars from the state and federal level. The township has already missed out on up to $500,000 from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources for improvements to our Parks and Recs department because no applications were filled out this year or last. My position is that before we try to take the easy way out in raising funds by taxing the residents, I'll make sure as a trustee that all efforts of obtaining grants have been exhausted. Another item on my agenda is that I strongly believe the 42-2 District Court should be brought back to the township with the court leasing space from our police department. This would make it a win-win situation for both. I recently served myself on jury duty at the district court and was appalled by the conditions. Another item is that I believe we need to protect our natural resources and wetlands before construction destroys it all. We also need to control growth so that our infrastructure can be up to date as possible. The actions of this next board that you elect will determine how well the residents are treated and if their quality of life is improved. This year's election will have a significant impact on the residents of Chesterfield. There is a possibility that only one member of the current board will be re-elected, and based on comments from residents and employees that I have talked to, that will not be all that bad. So what is an ideal candidate? First, they must have a backbone and be willing to stand up what they believe is in the best interest of the township as a whole and not for special interests. Secondly, they must be able to accept criticism and use it to strengthen their understanding of what the residents are feeling. Third, they must put aside partisan politics and work together as a productive unit benefiting the whole township. And lastly, they must have the professional and business background that allowed them to succeed in the private sector and bring that knowledge so Chesterfield Township will grow and succeed and be a model for others to follow. Perhaps it is good to break all ties with the former administration and surge forward. November 7th, please elect me, Stephen Kroll, trustee. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Jane?
Sure. I feel that business depends on people, and people depend on businesses. We also know that if our township decays, business will leave. We all depend on cooperation with one another. A healthy residential community goes hand in hand with a healthy business community. I'm interested in good planning for the welfare of our community, a healthy, clean environment, a lake that is not contaminated, recreational activities, and lots of green spaces. No less important is a centrally located library and adequate police and fire personnel and facilities to assure a safe community. We do need to make sure that our utilities, including water and sewage, is adequate for the current population and the future population as it increases. I want to make sure that Chesterfield is always a place where people will want to live and work. This will be my legacy to my fellow citizens of Chesterfield. Please remember Mary Jane Kozar Howitt. I'm running on the Democratic ticket for trustee on November 7th. Thank you kindly.
Thank you, and thank you all. You've done very well.
Thank you.
Okay, one more thing. I've been asked to explain how the absentee ballot system works, and I've never cast an absentee ballot, so I need somebody who works with this.
All they gotta do is call the clerk's office and make a request that they send out an application.
You fill out that application?
Yeah, and then they'll send it out.
Can we have one person?
The deadline to register for those was today. For the absentee ballot, you get an absentee ballot all the way until the day of the election. All you have to do is apply for it.
You did get on that, Brady.
I'm not sure. I wish we could. Can we have one person on the mic?
I'll do it. Now, what was the question? If you want to apply for an absentee, you contact the clerk's office. They will forward you a registration form. You fill that out, mail it back to the clerk's office, and they will mail your ballot. You can, once you get your ballot, either drop it at the drop box or in the clerk's office, or you can drop it off at the township offices by 4 o'clock the day of the election.
If the voter is unable to come to the township offices to deliver their vote, or they don't have a spouse to do so, they may have the clerk come to their resident and pick up their ballot anytime before 4 o'clock on election day, and I'll be glad to do so.
Okay, thank you. And thanks to all the candidates. Good luck to all of you. Thanks to everybody who attended. We appreciate all the support.